Hello everybody, this is Yoko's Otaku Treasures, and this is going to be my review for My Hero Academia Season 7, Episode 1. And it's the only one that's dubbed right now. And it starts out with a fucking fight. When I was about to start the episode, I saw, when I scrolled onto the episode, it, showed a synopsis of what the episode was, and I was like, oh, come on, really? Because she runs into Shigaraki on her way to Japan. Just about gets to Japan too and runs into him. I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna start with a fight. That's what it was meant when I was talking in the reaction. I was like, there's gonna be a fight. That's how I knew. And yeah, the U.S. obviously everybody in the world knows essentially what's going on in Japan because that's how the last season ended. Was them asking for help from the other countries, and all the other heroes do want to help, but All for One's got cronies all over the world, and because of what's going on in Japan, they're all causing problems for the heroes, which means essentially they won't be able to offer help to Japan, which, I mean, that's essentially what his plan is, and him obtaining One for All is actually not his end goal. And that's actually a surprise to me because you would think that would have been his end goal, was to kill All Might, take One for All, and take his rightful place as the Lord of Evil, essentially. Or the symbol of evil, whatever the fuck it was. I'm thinking of Ferd. Anyway, yeah, apparently it was just a mid-goal, essentially, to him. No, his end goal essentially is to gain Star and Stripes quirk, New Order. And yeah, it turns out that apparently, dang it, which movie was it? It was, I think it was My Hero Academia 2 Heroes, I think, where they went to America. Yeah, apparently in that movie, he ends up saving her, but she had brown hair at the time, so essentially she copied his look down to his hair color, too. Wow. I don't know if I assume he knows this, because she's the number one hero in America, so of course he would know that. And, yeah, she shows up and immediately runs into Shigaraki. And at first she thinks he's All for One. And I mean, I wouldn't blame her. Because, I mean, you would think the big bad that you're about to face is All for One. But they do confirm that is supposed to be Tomura Shigaraki. However, what she doesn't know is that he's still dealing with the whole, those two merging. And he is still against it, essentially. He's still fighting to stay in control of his body and not give All for One, complete and total control over it, because that is what he's planning on doing. He's planning on merging with Tomura and essentially taking control of him, his quirk, and, because he gave him the copy for All for One, he already has All for One, so yeah. And I'm assuming his original body is a backup plan just in case Tomura ends up getting killed, obviously. So, she shows off her quirk and the fact that she can essentially command something she touches to do something, where she commands the air and essentially says that there is going to be no air in a certain distance in front of me, which creates a vacuum, funny enough in the shape of a star, around Tomura, which means he cannot breathe. And you would think that normally this would be the end for anybody, but this is Tomura Shigaraki we're talking about here. He didn't go down to everything the others were throwing at him back in Season 6. And that was a lot. That was Deku's 100% smashes, plus Endeavor roasting him alive, essentially, and all sorts of other stuff. So, yeah. He's not going to go down to this. And essentially, he tries to touch her, she tries to touch him, she manages to get a hold of him, or punch him, and call out his name, and essentially lays the rule down that if he moves, essentially Tomoe Shigaraki moves, his heart will stop beating, and you would think that this will be the end. But I'm like, that'd be too easy. That would be very anticlimactic for the big bad villain of this whole show that's been building up since season 1. No, this is not. And then they saw those two, he was still fighting for control over his body, and I was like, the only way he'd be able to get out of that rule is if he wasn't identifying as Tomoe Shigaraki, he was identifying as All for One, or not even identifying as either one of them for that matter. And that was the case, essentially. And he kind of figures out, a little bit how her quirk works. And even if he does, that doesn't mean he can counter it, like she said. So she uses the air again and creates a solid version of herself, like 1,000 times bigger, and uses it to fight him because she can't identify who he is at the moment, and thus that rule, being able to use that against him is going to be very hard to do. And yeah, this essentially is just her stalling until the others can get there and they can help her out with this, because she's essentially just trying to keep him from regenerating. And she contacts the U.S. government, and they tell her, this is going to be the last favor you get from us with how you've been doing, and you could essentially lose your license on top of other things, possibly your life. And she's like, I don't care. We got to do this. And they send missiles from the U.S. to Japan to try and take out Shigaraki, which I know that's not going to work. Because, like I said, it'd be too easy. Him taking all that damage back in Season 6, and yet this would take him out? No, it's not going to take him out. It would have to, because we still have the rest of Season 7 to come. I mean, hello? Even if he did somehow get taken out, we'd still have All for One to deal with. And I don't think he's going to get taken out anyway, because Deku still has yet to face him. But yeah, I am excited for Season 7, yet very scared for it at the same time, because there have been so many people, from what I've heard, that die, that gets gravely injured. I think something about Shigaraki exploding. I don't know. And essentially, this might end up turning into an R-rated anime with all that, if they add all that in there. Unless they censor it somehow, in which case I can understand that. But yeah, I'm very scared because I don't want anybody else to die. I don't want anybody else, like our favorite characters, to die, because we've already lost quite a few. We lost Midnight. We've lost a bunch of the other characters that were fighting against all the villains. But we haven't lost any of the main ones except for Midnight, and Twice also died, but yeah, not everybody was a fan of him, but I mean, I felt sympathy for him, with how he ended up falling in the wrong crowd. If he had become a hero instead of a villain, they would have a very large chance at being able to stop the villains, because, I mean, Sad Man's Parade is a freaking insane, to be completely honest. That'd be able to help deal with any of the villains, but yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys are excited for more, because I will get the next one out as soon as I can when it comes out. And I'll see you guys in the next one.